Welcome back. So this is what we are going to code in today's game. And today we are going to learn about sprites and how to use sprites. So to start off, you can open a new Python file. After opening a new Python file, we can start off. Now we're going to go with a sprite. Now what is a sprite? A sprite is like a character or any object in the Pygame. In Pygame, it can do? It can move and it can collide with other sprites. To do so, we shall first import Pygame. Then after importing Pygame, what we're going to do, we are going to initialize. Then we're going to create our screen of 500, 600. We're going to initialize some colors here, just in case we need them. And we're going to now make our brick. So now, to make our brick, the brick class, we're going to make it in terms of a class. Usually sprites are defined in terms of classes. Now the brick class is going to inherit from pygame.sprite.sprite. Then we are going to initialize this brick class. We are going to call super.initialize. Now what this super stands for, it stands for this class where we're inheriting from. So we're going to initialize all the functions. We're going to initialize all the functions of this class we are inheriting from. That's what that super stands for. Then we're going to make our image. Our image, self.image, will equal to pygame.surface 50 by 30. Then we're going to fill our image with the color brown. Now here in this term, the color brown, we are picking it from the system colors that are already defined in Pygame, pygame.colorBrown. Then self.rect, we're going to get the rect. Now this rect, if you have been following along with the tutorials, this is the second last video in the tutorials. If you have been following along, you know that this rect gets the properties of this surface. So the properties it will get is the size of the size and then the position of the surface. Then we're going to say self.rect will equal to self.rect move location. Mean that if we get a new location here, if a person passes into the brick class a new location, what we're going to do, we're going to give that location to the move function. And what does it do? It changes the location of the brick. So then after, we're going to call brick sprite group. Now we're going to make a group of all the bricks so that we could track them and we could make changes accordingly if something happens to the brick. So to do that, we're going to say pygame.sprite.group. Then we're going to store that in the Pygame Sprite group. Then now to add different bricks into this group, we're going to say, okay, for I in range 6, we're going to add a brick at position 15 plus 60, but it changes according to I, and then the height should be 500 of each brick. It should be down on the y-axis. Then we're going to initialize our loop. Now if you remember, if you've been following along, you could understand what this means. Then we're going to fill the screen with black, and then we're going to draw our group onto the canvas, into the screen. We want to draw our group, then we're going to flip, which makes the changes available. So if I run the code, you can see that we have made our bricks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the bricks. Now to add those top bricks, what we're going to do, we're going to come back here in the for range I. And the for range I, we are going to add a second layer of bricks into the group. So to add a second layer of bricks into the group, you can call brick sprite group.add. We're going to add the brick. That's going to be of size 15 plus 60 times I. Then the height in the y direction will be 100 minus 5 times I. Now this is just mathematics to determine exactly where each brick should be according to its position. So if we run it, you can see that we have these bricks according to their positions here. Because remember, if you look at This is the x-axis, meaning that each brick on the x-axis is changing by 60 times I. So 60 times I, each brick is changing. Then on the y-axis, each brick is changing by minus 5 times I. And 5 times I will take it somehow up like that. So after that, we have added our bricks. Now we need to add our ball. Now to add our ball, you go anywhere in the code, but that is before the loop, before this loop, you go anywhere in the ball. Now before we do anything, we should first import time. Now when we import time, it's going to help us in to slow down the game, so that the game does not move very fast because if your processor of your computer is very fast, the game will move very fast. So you need to import time to slow down the game. So we're going to see how to use that. Then we're going to come here and initialize our ball. Initialize our ball, we're going to create our ball class, inherit from Pygame sprite. Then we're going to initialize, and then this class is going to take in the value of location. Then we're going to call super, which is meaning we're going to initialize this class we have inherited from. Then we're going to make our image. We're going to call it pygame.surface. Then we're going to draw a circle, pygame.draw circle self.image. Now this circle, we're going to draw it on the image. So it's like this. We have our surface. We have our initial big surface. This is the screen. Let's say the screen. Then in the screen, we have another smaller surface, which is the what? Which is the surface we have just defined. And the surface we have just defined is this. Let me make a pen. The surface we have just defined is, I think x is 50. It's 50. I think it's 30 by 30. That's the surface we have just defined. And then our whole screen is 600 by 500. Now this is the surface we have just defined. And in this surface, we would like to draw in a circle or the ball. So the circle will be inside this surface. That's why you see that we're going to say that let the center be 15, 15. That's where's my pen. Let the center, because this will be 0, 30 in this surface of its own. So we're going to say let the center, this center here is half of that. So this center here will be 15. This from here to here, this place here is 15. Then from here to here is also 15. So if we come back to our code here, we're going to draw the circle on that surface, and this surface here we are drawing on this surface here. It's the one we're calling self.image. Self.image. The one we're calling self.image. So we're going to draw in that self.image. We're going to name it a color blue, and then our center will be at 15, 15, and our radius will be 15, so that it can fill the hole. If our radius of this circle is 15, it's going to fill the whole surface. So after that, we're going to go to the self.rect. We're going to make a new variable called self.rect, and then we're going to get the rectangular property of the image we have created. So of the surface, which we are calling self.image. Then we're going to say if the location is passed in, I need to update the rectangular property of the surface. Then after that, we're going to say our velocity is going to be self.move y is equal to 10. So now this is our ball class, we have defined it. But now we need to define an update function in the ball class, so that we run it every time we come into a new loop. We run our update function so that it updates and carries out some functionality, so that if it will check whether the two objects have collided, and if they have collided, it's going to change something. So we're going to say if, now update class, if pygame.sprite collide self. Now this this sprite collide function, what it does, it takes in the first sprite and then the second sprite. So now the first sprite is self. Now what this self stands for, it stands for this object ball. If you know object-oriented programming, this self refers to the current object I'm working on, which is ball. Then now this second sprite here is a sprite group. Now this implies that if any ball touches any brick in the sprite group, I'm going to check whether it has collided with any brick in the sprite group. That's the good thing about the sprite group. In the sprite group, you can make a sprite group, then put in a bunch of sprites, and then in those sprites, you could write only one line of code to check if any other sprite has collided with any other sprite in the whole sprite group. And the sprite group doesn't necessarily have to The sprite group doesn't necessarily have to be in the same location. They can be in different other locations. Now then again, you have now this false, del false. Now what this false means, if the sprite has collided with another sprite, if this one is true, that sprite will be deleted off the screen. If it is false, it will not be deleted off the screen. So you can use it to make a game whereby if the bullet touches, let's say, an enemy, if they collide, then here I will just turn it to true, and then the enemy will just disappear. If the enemy has been shot by the bullet, it will just disappear. If they collide, both of them will just disappear, the enemy and the bullet. So if these two collide, what I want to do, I want to call my self.moveY to equal to negative, self meaning that change the direction of moving. Then if they have not collided, just do the same. Self.rect.move IP. Now, IP means in place. Now this in place, it shows it will move the ball from whatever place it is to its new position you have defined. So what it means, if you have like a ball, if I have a ball here, and then I call move in place, it means that it's going to get this ball and move it to a new location. But if I had called move will not move the current ball to a new location. What move does, move will create a new ball, update its location, and then put it somewhere on the screen. But what if we already have a ball on the screen? What move in place does, just changes the location of the ball to another location. So it means that if our ball collides, we're going to change its location to 0, meaning that the ball is not changing according to the x-axis, it's only changing according to the y-axis. So that's what it means. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to come down here, and then we're going to call ball sprite.draw. So we're going to draw the balls onto the screen. After drawing the balls onto the screen, we're going to call the update function, ball sprite group.update. Now, what the sprite group does, it is going to call the update function in all the sprites in its group. So it's going to update. Now this update will check for collision. If collision occurs, it's going to change the velocity in the y-axis of the what? It's going to flip the velocity in the y-axis of the ball. Now we're going to call pygame.display flip, which just updates the screen. Now time.sleep 0.05, this is to slow down the game. But if you don't slow down the game and then you have a very fast processor, it's going to move very fast. But in this case, it's going to move very slowly. So then we are going to run the code. So if you run the code, you can see they're colliding and moving, top, collide, like that. So that's how you would use sprites in Pygame. Simple times you'd use sprites in Pygame. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe and leave a like.